TAC work session to order. Looks like we have a quorum. And Peter, do you want to take it? Or do you want me to?
No, if I talk too much, I'll start coughing.
Okay, all right. So the first application is 20 Central Ave. Who's here to present?
Yeah, Sean Toby from Haley Ward, also Nicole King from Haley Ward, and Drew Goddard from Copley Properties, the applicant.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
So this simple 3-lot subdivision application. It's an existing single-family parcel, just about 28,000 square feet. It's a corner lot on the corner of Central Ave and Beechwood. We've put together a quick kind of preliminary sketch based on record survey plans and information that we could obtain just to kind of get a quick layout going, but each lot would be a frontage lot. It's in the general residence A, so as proposed, everything meets space and bulk standards, setbacks. There is an easement that runs through the southern part of the property, a sewer and drainage easement to the city. That is based on the record plan, but we'll get out there. It's centered on the sewer and drain pipe that exists, so we'll locate those and confirm that location, but it still looks like there's enough usable area on the north side for dwelling units, as well as the additional dwelling unit up there to the north with frontage on Central. These are just kind of boxes to show that it'll work. As we progress, we'll pick actual footprints, put them on, and show driveways and grading. We'll progress with stormwater and utilities. I just wanted to get some quick feedback today, kind of on the layout, see if there were any issues, with drainage or safety or anything, and then go back and put a full package together, and then come back for TAC in the coming months.
Okay, any questions?
I was looking at our utility records. I believe we have 2 drainage pipes through that easement, but
Okay.
that's the only real comment I have. I don't think it's centered in the easement either. I think they're slightly closer to each edge, but within the easements.
So is there 2 city drain pipes and then a sewer easement too? Because there's a sewer easement shown on their plan,
It's the drainage easement. It's
just drainage.
Just-
Because the plan shows a drainage and a sewer.
Yeah, the
old
plan shows,
plan, 1970 plan.
mhm.
And we couldn't pull up the plan because it just had, pull up that plan. We couldn't pull up, probably that's the plan we would have pulled up, but it just had a microfiche.
Yep.
Yep.
Just a line showing a
Ah.
easement to the city and an easement to the state.
Okay.
Yeah, it shows that, I believe it's center of each line, and then it says 10 foot each side.
That may be it. I believe the sewer may have been converted to a drain.
So it might just be 2 drains there now, and then we'll
Yeah.
just offset 10 to the north and then 10 to the south
Yeah.
on
Okay.
each. So it'll probably be wider than 20 feet, given the gap between them, but.
Yep.
Okay, we'll get that formally defined on the new plan.
What are you showing on the plan? The next plan down?
Yeah, our next plan down took the northernmost line and offset it 10 feet, and then the southernmost line and offset it 10 feet.
That looks very accurate to what I was seeing on our utility maps.
That's
The
the
width
easement
of
you have or you
Yeah.
want? Yep,
Okay. Yeah, and on the record plan, it shows a catch basin kind of out in the grass there to the right, and then it shows some manholes in the street. So we'll be able to pop those and get a good center line going through the corner.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the only thing that we thought of was, if you look in the street, there's a manhole that looks like it's on the far edge of it.
Yep.
If you had to go further into that lot 2, you'd be tight on your setbacks, but
Okay.
you can figure that out as you
Yeah,
determine the exact locations.
Yep, we'll make sure.
I don't know that we had any other comments. Do we have any other comments?
Just a question about the non-subdivided lot,
Oh, yeah, on the record card, the assessor's record card says it's a non-subdividable lot. We haven't been able to get hold of, we just checked this morning, I followed up, but I haven't heard back from her, so you know anything about that, other than the easements are there, but
Yeah,
the way you've shown it, it looks like it's doable. if you
Yeah,
can
we
make
were
it work.
unsure of that language. I mean, I think we looked through the deeds, did some research. There's nothing we can find that comes back that would be prohibitive of that. The only thing we might have thought is originally on the layout, this was 6 original parcels from the original subdivision. And maybe it had something to do where those were merged for tax purposes or something, and it couldn't be undone without subdivision approval. We're not sure, but nothing we can see in the deed research that would prohibit it from being subdivided further.
We'll see what the assessor says and let you know if we hear anything from them.
Okay, sounds good.
questions, anybody?
No, for now, I mean, eventually you'll show where your power is gonna come in and
Yeah,
water, and, some rough architecturals.
And yeah, we'll need to see more on the drainage, obviously, that you can make it work on the site.
yeah,
I think you're gonna be able to contain it all on the site.
yep, we'll put a study together and, cause it'll require site plan review with the 3 units, so we'll make sure we have reductions in the post.
Okay. All right, I think we're all set.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
We have the next one too.
Yeah. Where was a better picture of it, but yeah, it's like a nice lot, he's gonna take, probably bought it for $1 million, 1.2.
Are you guys ready? You're waiting for somebody?
To
I
make
think we're just waiting for one more.
We could get started if she's not here, next couple minutes.
Okay, yep. We'll wait.
I think that would work.
Mike,
Put it on the agenda for 2:30, but
where we're at,
it's aspirational.
but it's beautiful outside. I know everyone would rather leave,
Yes.
including
Our office.
me.
Yeah,
Was he gonna come on here? I think John was gonna zoom in. You waiting for John online or in person?
no, he was gonna try
Sean's
to,
gonna
but,
do it.
yeah, John was traveling, so he got me up to speed.
We were just waiting for Rebecca, the traffic,
Oh, okay.
but she'll be here, and I know what she did. She sent Eric a copy of it, so we can just start, and if there's any traffic issues, she'll be here any minute.
Yeah, so with this project, so since the last TAC meeting, went to planning board, everything was kind of worked through, approved from TAC. At the planning board, it was kind of determined there was questions about the access easement through the city's parking lot to the south. That went to town council. Sounds like there's still some questions regarding that. John Shagnon has done some pretty extensive research, whether, it's still up in the air, I guess we'll say. It's not a kind of final determination on that. We do feel there's access through there, but in the effort of just advancing the project, we've gone back and revised the design on the southwest corner. Instead of accessing out through that easement or that access way, we've closed that off with a fire gate and then put a turnaround for traffic in the site. So that'll prevent the need for that access, keep everything contained on the subject parcel and then back out to the street. So these plans have been updated and revised for that, as well as, with Rebecca coming, she can talk about any of the trip gen with that coming out of the entrance. But we feel everything with this layout works and will be sufficient for moving the project forward.
A little bit more commentary on that too. The majority of the people on this site, the reason I pivoted so quickly is the majority of behavior on the site went in and out Pleasant as is. Where the new building is located on the site plan is a 14-car parking lot in the front. All those cars come in and out of Pleasant Street. None of them circle back around. They can't even. And same with the front end of the lot. So I've just noticed behavior. It's a 24-foot aisle. See the building footprint up front? Lower that down a little. See, the building footprint up front now is a parking lot. And they come in that parking lot, park, and then go out the drive-through lane. So the reality is that the majority of our traffic has been coming on and off Pleasant Street. That little hidden back way really is more inconvenient. So when I saw that it's maybe a protracted period of time here to see about the easement, I never had a problem coming in and out of Pleasant. So this is a desired change for me, and not a change that's, oh my God, I don't like it. Everybody residentially, which is all the upper floors, they'll know exactly where they are. If they're going into parking garage and they're coming out, and so that's just a little more commentary on why I pivoted so quickly and just said, let's just modify the design.
Thank you. So you have a box truck turnaround. Looks like that can work in there, but you have to go through a gate to get the fire truck out. On the next plan, it shows the fire truck access.
if they used that entrance,
Yes, John Chagnon and I discussed this.
Is there any way for you to get off without going through there?
We could back out to Pleasant, but it all depends on whether how we're going to use it is very variable based on the scenario,
Sure.
based on the weather, based on the traffic.
The only reason I ask is he wants to avoid the easements. The other one still goes across, contemplates that at least part of it going across city property. So there'd have to be some.
what does?
If you go through the fire gate, the truck would have to go across the parking lot, right?
Well, that's the city of Portsmouth, though. I mean, that's the fire department.
Right, but it's not an access that would be normally allowed, so you need to have some sort of permission for it.
Well, we propose to put a fire gate on our property, and, you know, we would be fine with the caveat that in the future, if the city develops that and we don't have an easement, that we would reach an acceptable, you know, location with the fire department, if something like that would work for Chad.
That sounds more than reasonable to me.
Yeah, that's basically where I was getting at, so
I
it doesn't hold you up.
Peter, I've just so you know, because I'm newer to this, I didn't realize that we would have to make that consideration given that it was city property going through the gate. But you're saying it may be redeveloped and it may not be a usable.
Exactly, just so if he wants to preserve that right and he needs that right,
Got
then
it.
we'd have to document that somewhere.
Okay,
But if you
understood.
don't need it,
Right.
then it's a different story.
And from my standpoint, because the fire department's there and comes in that way, and the city of Portsmouth Housing Authority, and there's even a garage door on the old fire station there, like some access through there is probably always going to be there. And meaning that if the city didn't want it and proves that I don't have an easement, they can access it straight through. The fire gate could be right, you know, straight through where you need this lane anyhow.
The court driveway.
Yeah, just straight on out. If they need a fire gate on there, you know, it's a big site and it's a big area to circle around there and,
Well, we were even wondering if you couldn't back or pull into the drive-through lane and then turn around there if you needed to turn
On
around.
a good day,
On a good
maybe.
day.
The longer truck might not be able to make that turn back, but honestly, if the truck is never going to get that far in there.
Right.
Too close.
The
to
engine might, but not a ladder truck, so, all things being equal, it's not changing any access for us. That was my thought, that the gate we never have to urgently get through that gate from the other direction, we really wouldn't. So I hear what you're saying.
It's a bonus, yep.
And I wasn't considering the future development of the city, so you bring up a good point. But like you said, if, as Mark was indicating, it could be through the other direction, it's just, we'd have to have that consideration on the document, so that's fine.
and these are low rise, you know, these are small buildings. These are fully sprinklered and, so that's what we would propose. We would propose unless you know, put the fire gate there, and if it determines that the city of Portsmouth, that we don't have an easement, that if the fire department needs another one relocated, we would figure that out. You know, remember this, if I don't have an easement, these are revocable licenses. You know, it's meaning that
Yeah.
the city can just give a revocable license on it and relocate it and do it or cancel it. So it's not, it's got plenty of other options. And I think it's the best work around at this point.
What gets you moving?
Huh?
Yeah, it keeps the project moving.
It keeps it moving, and I think it gets the city closer to, you know, look, we believe we have an easement. So look at what I'm doing cooperation-wise. By abandoning it for my traffic, okay? If I have an easement, then I'm out of the way for the city to move forward with something there. If you make me fight for the easement and I win it and my travelway goes through there, that's not cooperating with the city. So I think it's in everybody's interest to try to make that exit go away. It keeps the city of Portsmouth
Keeps the options
options open, where if you make me fight for it and I win it, then the city doesn't have the option.
Well,
without pain.
We just want to make it safe, you know, also, that's the key with this process.
And as
As it is, it is safe for us.
Thank you, Chad, appreciate it.
Thank
Sean?
Any
Is
other
that-
questions?
That's pretty much, I think we were here, is just the change in that.
Yeah, I think
The
just,
only change,
Yeah.
the landscaping's all the same and
just revised slightly in that area to, accommodate for the turnaround, but yeah, everything else is the same.
We lost a few parking spaces, but we had access spaces. We meet the parking we need.
Be able to widen the aisle out to 20, because you had angle parking in there before.
Yes, we're able to get the full 24, yeah.
did you want to present something on traffic?
Well, we just wanted Rebecca here in case Eric had a problem or question with us coming in and out of Pleasant Street. She updated the traffic and, she's clearly standing by her analysis that our redevelopment, although it's adding space, going by the data that the traffic engineers go by, it's slightly less reduction than it is today. And then she did a separate memo on that to address Tony Coviello's question about that. He didn't think it made logical sense. But I agree with her memorandum where that drive-through teller lines used to be a big deal, many, many years ago. But now electronic is really taken over big time. The drive-throughs aren't anywhere near what they used to be. People are online depositing checks and they're just not using it, and ITE updates that data, and that's the data she gets. So that's probably maybe where there was a slight, how did that happen that way? And it seems like just the numbers for drive-through have changed quite a bit from ITE from past to today.
She sent me the traffic study last night, and I'm just looking at it now as we sit here. It looks okay, but, I obviously haven't gone through it in detail, but it looks good.
It didn't change where that there isn't any increase.
No. And level of service coming out onto Pleasant Street is A or B. So it's not a capacity issue trying to get out onto Pleasant Street. I don't know if she's projected this out to a peak month or average month or.
She'll probably be here any minute.
Stuck in traffic.
It's me.
Just you. Yeah, so,
Somewhere I saw the comments about the bicycle parking, getting into the bike spaces in the basement. So there was concern about how that would work.
I think you have to ask who's concerned. We weren't. I don't think the city was. I don't know if it was in a butter throwing spaghetti at the wall or whatever, where it came from, but
Using the same ramp as the vehicles to go down in there.
they came, but I think where there was confusion is people didn't realize there's a whole separate entryway that parallels the parking garage right to the lobby and elevator right there on the side. And these are full-size elevators. So I think the question to that went away when we showed that there's a sidewalk right there that you can get in and get into the lobby, and not have to go down the ramp. Rebecca just showed up, so.
We're all waiting for you, Rebecca.
I apologize.
We started early.
I told him, you sent me the traffic study, but I'm just looking at it as we sit here, so it doesn't look like any major issues, but if you could.
Yep, no major issues. The majority of it is the same as what you had previously seen with the trip generation comparison, the parking calculations for what's required versus what's provided on the site. The main differences are the things that we discussed last week. That we did some driveway counts at the existing driveways to take a look at how traffic is being generated right now, so that we could understand whether there would be any impact from closing the connection over to Parrott Avenue. Overall, the site is a net reduction in trips as compared to what's out there today, but because we would be closing the connection to Parrott Avenue, when all of that traffic gets redistributed over to Pleasant Street, it does end up being an increase in the traffic using that main driveway on Pleasant Street. So we did some traffic counts there. We also did a capacity analysis to look at how that intersection would operate, as well as the drive-through exit, how that would operate once the redevelopment occurs if Parrot Avenue driveway is closed. And it did show that all the movements would operate at a level of service B or better, and queues not exceeding one vehicle on the driveway approaches. So the volumes on Pleasant Street are relatively low, which is why it operates well despite the increase in traffic out there. So that's the majority of the change that was added to the traffic study, was to take a look at what happens if we do have to close that Parrot Ave driveway and send everybody out through Pleasant Street.
You did your counts on Pleasant Street in the last week or so.
We did them last Thursday, or last Wednesday, they were done.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you factored it up to what, average month, peak month?
Peak month, yep, based on the count station data that you had given us from the Maplewood Ave intersection. We used that to adjust. It was around a 12% adjustment that we applied to those traffic volumes to adjust to peak month conditions. Yep.
Okay. I don't have any further concerns. Sight lines are fine coming out there, you're not blocked by the building or anything?
No, sight lines are fine, and those we had analyzed in the last round. We had updated them to include the driveway out, the ramp and the driveway out of the district courthouse there from the Parrot Avenue lot. That may potentially go away, so in this most recent study, that driveway was removed. And then there wouldn't be any traffic coming in past the ramp from the direction that was in question anyway. But that wall there is only 18 inches high, so it would not create an obstruction anyway.
I'm good. I don't have any further
Good.
questions.
Any other questions, anybody? Peter, any questions? Peter Stith is online.
No, I'm all right. And we're not taking a vote on this. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, question. I mean, well, you can relay it back to the planning board.
We can really back to the plan where we saw the new configuration and TAC didn't have any concerns with it, so. they'll
Would
hear
there
that
be any
update.
reason not to take a vote on it?
It's a TAC work session, we don't.
Okay,
we don't-
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just, it's mainly to get feedback, but since you changed the plan, the planning board would be happy to hear that we talked about it.
Right.
Had no concerns regarding that new change and the traffic, so. That's it then.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Let's get outside.
All right, so I guess we're good.